When a new product is a hit, you only have a brief window of time to capitalize on it before imitators flood your market. This was the situation GSC Game World faced with Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl. Despite its issues and turbulent development, it had earned critical success and found a dedicated fan base around the world. But its time as the first true shooter RPG hybrid was running out. Far Cry 2 had already proven to be a more influential open-world shooter, and RPGs like Fallout 3 or Borderlands were on the horizon. Stalker needed a sequel fast. It was this desire to strike while the iron was hot that led GSC, now with publisher Deep Silver, to rush out Stalker Clear Sky, a prequel using unused and recycled assets from the first game to save time. Is Clear Sky a sunny day in the zone, or is the forecast a bit cloudier?
You got away from the army, you lucky devil. I've got a feeling there's a reason for you being here. Pop in and see me if you're in the area.
As mentioned, Clear Sky is set prior to the events of Shadow of Chernobyl, filling in some of the gaps in the background. You play as Scar, an older veteran mercenary making ends meet by guarding scientists as they study the zone. Following a giant energy release called an Emission, Scar is saved by a secret faction called Clear Sky, warrior scientists that seek to understand the zone and what's happening with it. The good news is that the Emission has revitalized Scar's body. Bad news is that it's also killing him. And now it's up to Scar and Clear Sky to find out what's causing these emissions and put an end to them. Unfortunately, the writing is easily Clear Sky's greatest fault. Shadow of Chernobyl had a great through line as you followed the Mark I's journey deeper and deeper into the zone to uncover his memory. Every quest was somehow tied to it, giving you little crumbs as the trail went on. With Clear Sky, that simply doesn't happen. After the initial setup, you're told rumors of a group of stalkers that entered the power plant in the heart of the zone, and then you're basically set off without any further instructions.
The zone appeared as a result of the actions, let's call them misguided human actions, and we are unable to return to the status quo. The zone cannot be destroyed, nor will it disappear of its own accord. We, Clear Sky, believe that there is only one way to reconcile man with the zone: coexistence.
Well, that's not entirely true. Once again, you'll need to interact with the various warring factions of the zone. There's the neutral stalkers trying to survive, bandits preying on whoever they can, Freedom, who seeks to protect the zone from the outside world, and Duty, who seeks to protect the outside world from the zone. Meeting and dealing with these groups comprises the first part of the game, before you're let off the leash and allowed to join up with one of them of your choosing. This leads to Clear Sky's biggest gameplay innovation, the Faction Wars system. After joining your group of choice, you'll start a semi-dynamic campaign to help them control the zone, accomplished by fighting off the other factions over a series of control points. See this through to the end, and you'll be rewarded with high-end gear and a mostly safe zone to travel through, never mind captured loot from the fighting. However, the system has two drawbacks. First is the lack of other non-faction war side quests, of which there's nearly none. If you're looking to deviate from the main quest and earn gear, you're mostly out of luck. Second is that it is frankly miserably broken.
The zone tolerates us in some areas and forbids us from going to others. Whatever is beyond the Scorcher and further towards the center of the zone is taboo, a place where stalkers are not supposed to set foot. I think that the recent events in the zone are related to the fact that someone broke that taboo and made it past the brain scorcher.
This is kind of the main thing remembered about Clear Sky, the bugs. Shadow of Chernobyl had bugs. It had a lot of bugs, but it was never as bad as Clear Sky. Even with well over a dozen major patches long before that was the norm, Clear Sky still is kind of a mess to play. The aforementioned Faction War system only somewhat functions, with the AI often getting confused when or if you had taken a control point for your team. While gathering footage, I completed the Freedom questline only for the game to bug out, respawn more enemies, and restart the whole thing. The game also crashed far more than Shadow of Chernobyl did. The AI was noticeably less intelligent, and at one point I just kept reloading my weapons over and over for no reason. Some areas won't let you have weapons equipped even if you're being shot at by everyone around you, and quests would sometimes either complete themselves or fail to complete at random. Shadow of Chernobyl was often forgivable because of its ambition. It was an ambitious game hampered by bad development. But Clear Sky doesn't get off quite as easy, and it's no wonder it's often the least talked about member of the franchise. There are positive things about Clear Sky, they're just usually overshadowed by the bad writing and bugs. First is the improvements to the core gameplay. Weapons can now be repaired or upgraded, with each faction having access to a mechanic with specialty upgrades for certain guns. This means that a favorite weapon is no longer tossed aside after extended use, and some weapons can be modified for specialist roles, like shotguns with rifling for more effective slug rounds, or a scope and silencer on a Kalashnikov for long-range takedowns. Armor can also be upgraded too, allowing for better protection and more equipped artifacts. Speaking of artifacts, you'll no longer be able to just scoop them off the ground. They're now invisible to the naked eye until you're very near them, and in order to find these precious objects, you'll need a detector. This is a small handheld device ranging from simple proximity light to an advanced GPS locator that will help you gather up the powerful artifacts. You'll still need to navigate through the deadly anomalies, but this does add a greater sense of risk and reward to artifacts, rather than just letting you collect them idly as you wander around.
Please begin the operation. All our hopes and prayers are with you. Good luck. Let's move out.
Clear Sky in general is a more challenging game than Shadow of Chernobyl. Bandages no longer heal you, meaning that you can't spam them to save medkits. Enemies, when they notice you, are far deadlier, and on higher difficulties they can take a lot of punishment before going down. There's greater focus on fighting human NPCs in Clear Sky, not just in the faction wars but through the main story as well. And the infamous final sections in the town of Lemansk go down as some of the most bombastic gunfights in the franchise. Clear Sky also looks notably better than Shadow of Chernobyl. These were both head-turners when they released in 2007 and 2008, but Clear Sky seems to have pulled ahead with better dynamic lighting and effects. Textures have been improved, and subtle visual effects help to increase immersion. Weapon animations also now seem smoother and less janky, though NPCs themselves are a noticeable weak spot.
Need something upgraded or repaired? We got enough duct tape to patch the whole zone up if need be.
Audio remains a high point. Weapon sound effects have been overhauled and have much more punch to them this time. Ambient effects remain spooky and off-putting as ever, and the new music fits the tone well. Once again, voice acting is mostly laughable, but there's a great variety, and there seems to have been a much stronger direction this time. Clear Sky also has some of the most memorable lines in the franchise, and some of these voice clips have been burned into my brain forever. The great shame about Clear Sky is that there is a good Stalker game in here. It's just buried under a nuclear blast of issues. The writing is weak and non-compelling, and the world is almost 50% recycled levels from the first game with minor changes applied. And then there's the bugs, more bugs than anyone really can handle at times. When discussing the Stalker series, it's small wonder Clear Sky is often mentioned last, if at all. There is a good time to be had here, especially if you crave more of the zone. But if you need something a bit more stable, perhaps Clear Sky should be given a rain check. Thanks for watching, and join me next time as we return to the zone once again and answer the call of Pripyat.
You are not an ordinary man. The zone has left a curious mark on you, and I don't know whether it's a blessing or a curse. The normal chain of events has been broken. The zone is becoming increasingly unstable, and you are part of this process.